Miss Michelle Dean here from Christian Action Ministries. Hi, Miss Michelle.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I know probably the last time we talked was in between Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. I think probably right around that time.
The holiday food harvest time.
Yes, that's right. The holidays are always an important time for our local food pantries and whatnot. But there's been some pretty big news here lately that has directly affected you guys. What's going on?
Yeah. So the USDA Food Commodities Program was permanently canceled. What that means locally, you hear it on the national level. What that means locally is for our Ozark Mountain Country, about $300,000 in lost revenue that the food pantry relied on to meet the need of those facing food insecurity here in Stone and Taney County.
Wow.
It's a big number.
And when you guys talk about that dollar amount, like we've talked to several different folks, and a dollar is not a dollar.
Right.
Like your dollar goes way further because of how you guys go about purchasing the food. So this really affects you guys.
Yeah. It's huge. So, in the nonprofit world, we talk about stretching that dollar. Being able to receive that USDA commodities program is really what helps us. So we're changing from 1 cent a pound to almost 25 cents a pound. So the USDA food commodities program, which a lot of people don't realize, is that was our higher protein foods as well, which are higher cost. Too. So losing that for our families is going to make a huge impact. As you know, probably have heard, we after the news broke, we did have to make some tough decisions at the pantry. We closed 2 of our 4 locations. We mainly because we had to let go of some staff and cut some positions, and so we just started looking at ways that we can, 1, cut cost, and 2, kind of mainstream operations a little bit. So our downtown Branson location at the end of April will be closed. And then our Stone County storefront location that was open every Tuesday will go to a senior outreach distribution only.
Okay.
And then we kind of had to put a freeze on our Neighbor to Neighbor program, not the ones that are serving our seniors, but all of our other mobile distributions where we were, putting food on truck, removing barriers for people. We've had to put a pause on that. So about 30 of those mobile distribution sites are frozen until we can find a funding source.
So, Miss Michelle Dean here from Christian Action Ministries. Josh Clark, this is The Upside, about 10 minutes till the top of the hour. So, Miss Michelle, we have heard a lot about, this is not the only program that has been slashed, right? Yeah. There's a lot of, Doge is just going left and right? Yeah. Now, everything that we've heard before is that, yes, a lot of things are going away, right? Once they're done and they see how much that they have been cut, there will be some programs that will be either reinstated or they'll be sort of altered to be something else. What are you guys looking at something like that? Have you heard anything?
Yeah. So I'm, part of a lot of other nonprofit forums and participate with a roundtable with Network for Strong Communities, which is out of St. Louis. And so what, they're projecting, right, is that the freeze that is on some of the federal funding grants, right? So for us, that's EFSP funding. There's a freeze there on those grants. That affects a lot of our local other nonprofits that receive funding maybe for housing to help people with rent. So there's a freeze on that, along with some of the other federal grants that we had applied for, that funding was already, quote, allocated to be spent.
Okay.
So that was one of the first things that came out with the executive orders is there was a freeze on that. So that funding, we are hearing, could possibly come back down the road. Probably not in 2025. It might be 2026, but they are going to reevaluate how those funds were allocated. So, nonprofits and organizations that it'll affect will be us, but also your OCACs, your Head Starts,
right,
things like that. They have a much bigger pool with that federal funding than we do. But the communication on the USDA commodities program is it is permanently canceled.
Right.
So that is not a freeze. We're looking at it later. This is permanently canceled. Now, will they create a new program? Sure, they can. I'm not hearing that right now.
Right.
Not on the forums that I'm on, and I'm going to have to plan a different path forward.
That's right. Today is not building stuff. Today's just tearing stuff down.
Yeah.
We'll think about building stuff as it comes a little bit later.
Absolutely.
So how are you guys going about what's your plan?
So, I just shared, with your neighbor Josh, shared with Scott last week. True transparency. I was heartbroken.
I bet.
When the news broke.
I bet.
Cried, anger, all the emotions. And then the Lord just lifted that burden. I felt like in that moment, yes,
amen, babe. That's right.
I felt like in that moment when that news broke, I felt the weight of 7,000 individuals on my shoulders of how am I going to feed that?
You love what you do. You've got the fire to go out and help people. I can't even imagine how much of a gut punch it must have been for you.
Absolutely, because we based our whole budget on
totally.
That,
yeah.
So it was probably, within a couple of days, I just felt like the Lord say, these are my people. And I just felt like that burden was just completely lifted off of my shoulders. And it was so amazing for the Lord to bring me full circle from that anger, that flesh, that wanted to be mad at someone. And what I said from the very beginning, I don't want to make this about a political decision. I know that there are people on social media that are using this for their own political gain, one side or the other. They're pro this administration or they were against it from the beginning, and they are saying, look, what is happening. For the people that want to make the comment that this was waste, the people that we serve, they didn't think it was waste.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Now, do they want to use that funding someplace else? And people want to be, upset about the funding being cut because places like CAM are going to be hurt. I hear that. I hear all of it. But at the end of the day, we are commanded to love our neighbor, to care for the least of these, the widows, the poor, and the orphans. So I'm like, you know what, Ozark Mountain Country? This is a blessing we have been missing out on. And this, I believe, is going to be the best path forward for us to be able to truly share the love of Christ without the government, that funding source, telling me how I can serve, who I can serve, what I can serve, right? This is it's a freeing moment in some sense. But the people in Ozark Mountain Country that have not had an opportunity to be generous, we are going to unleash that generosity.
Let me tell you something.
I got a spot for you.
That is the perfect way. I'm thinking to myself, how can I say, look here, everybody that ain't give no money, it's your time. You said it so eloquently, Miss Michelle. This is one of those things that is going to bring this community closer together.
Collective action.
We are seeing it now. Everyone thought that there was going to be, not everyone thought, but a lot of people thought that there could be almost like a magic switch, right? As far as now, here's the thing. Prices have fallen. Inflation has fallen. There have been some of those things but still the overall cumulative effect of everything that had been put on everyone over the past 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, how many ever years is starting to come to a head for a lot of people. And there are people who need more help now than they have ever needed in their entire life.
Absolutely.
This affects all of us. This affects your neighbor. This affects the dude that lives right down the road. We always talk about how neighborly we are and how much we love each other. How can we help?
Yeah. So we make it really easy to donate financially. You can go to our website, www.christianactionministries.org, our social media. There's links there. And if you can't donate $25, this is what we're looking for right now. 825 people. We started with 1,000.
Okay.
825 people to donate $25 a month. If you can't do 25 and you can do 10, $25 right now feeds a family of 4 for an entire month. If you can be a monthly partner, that's what we're looking for. People that want to invest in their neighbors right here in Ozark Mountain Country. Can't do 25, you can do 10. or if you can't do any of that, but you can come and volunteer.
That's right.
We've got ways that you can help, not just maybe with your treasures, maybe your talents, maybe your time. We got a place to plug in.
I tell you what, y'all will take, like, maybe you can't do them monthly. Maybe you can only do just like a one-time lump sum thing. Trust me, they will take that as well. You guys are also, you have such a great partnership with so many other businesses and organizations in the community that you guys aren't afraid to pop up and do a food drive or a fundraiser or whatever, like whatever event y'all can piggyback off of. I'm sure we'll probably see a little bit more of that.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw this during the pandemic. The nonprofit world, the community really came together to support each other. And I think this is going to be one of those times. The other thing, Josh, that I think it's important for families to recognize through this is a great opportunity for you to show your children how we love on people well. So, let your kid learn from this, because it's going to be their classmates, their teachers, their bus drivers, all the people who are caring for your kids. Help put a face with who they're serving. Come bring them to volunteer. Have them help work a food drive. Teach your kid that this is what we're doing. Right here, there are people in our community. We don't have to go out of the country or out of the state to see some need.
That's right.
It's right here, and that opportunity is there. So I'm hoping that this sheds a light a little bit on what food insecurity looks like in Ozark Mountain Country, but we can solve this problem together, united, collective action. $300,000 sounds like a lot for 1 to 2 to 3 people, but it is not a lot for the believers here in Ozark Mountain Country.
Amen to that. ChristianActionMinistries.org, or you can find them on Facebook, any of the social medias. Miss Michelle, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Look, this affects all of us. This affects every single one of us, whether you know it right now or not. We have to hunker down together until we get to the good times. They're coming. They're around the corner. I mean, look, the good times don't stay gone for long, right? But sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I'm believing big. We are believing big. These families that we have been helping, for them to go without the $300 to $400 worth of groceries that we've been putting in their carts will be a devastation to them.
That's right.
So,
and to allow that to happen, unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Miss Michelle, you holler if you need anything else.
Thanks, Josh.
Awesome. Hey, y'all stick around.